Welcome to our vegetable garden 2025. I'll take you on a quick tour. So as you can see, it's almost 90 degrees here. Very unusual for Michigan. It is late June 2025. Here are 17 of our tomato plants. I raised these from seed. Some of them are still kind of spindly, hoping to see them sprout up and become bigger as the season goes on. A few of them are doing really well. Sprouting right up. Next we have our carrot patch. There's a few small carrots growing. And over here we have peas. They're starting to leaf out. Then next we have squash, butternut. Got a couple plants over on that hill and a couple on this hill. They're a little smaller. This is our lettuce patch. And normally back here we have potatoes, but this year a friend gave us pumpkins instead. So we have 5 pumpkin plants spread out. I normally am out here every day trying to keep up on the weeds and watering everything. A little bit about our soil. So you can see here, you probably think this is mulch. But it actually isn't. It's coal from our fireplace. We live in Michigan, so we burn a fire during the winter, and we heard that ash from your fireplace is actually really good fertilizer. So the only bad thing is the coal chips kind of stay on the top of the surface, but at least they don't affect the roots of the plant. A note on a few garden tools: I don't have a regular hoe, so I've been using this tool, and I like the width of it because I can knock out a whole row, like in between my tomatoes, and so I like the width of it, but it is heavy and a little cumbersome, so I use a small hoe to get around individual small plants. We do have quite a bit of weeds around the place, especially you can see here thistles, which are really mean, so I have to whack at those quite frequently. But there's our garden so far, and we'll be giving more updates as it continues to grow. It is late June, and our daylilies are in full bloom. We do have an herb garden where we grow lavender, as you can see, and basil, and thyme, and oregano, a few other plants. So, welcome back. It is late July now, about a month since I last filmed. You can see it's a little cooler than last time, although we're still getting some heat waves here in Michigan. Okay, and you can see the garden has changed quite a bit in 1 month's time. So let's take a closer look. Our pumpkin plants are still kind of on the small side, although there's some blossoms coming up, so hoping we'll get good produce from that. And a quick tip, one of our friends said this is what they always do with their squash and pumpkins, but when you have longer vines and you don't have a whole lot of garden space, they said to twirl it. So kind of make the vines come in on themselves and kind of have them swirl in a circle and just keep swirling them that way, so that they don't take up as much room as they get growing and getting bigger. One note here is, you can see our squash are coming along. Let's see if I can catch it on camera here. You can see where these used to have leaves or maybe blossoms on them, and we think a deer or maybe a few deer have been coming through and eating that, because I saw a deer print in the dirt. So we do have a garden fence, but there's a couple of low spots on the fence, and we're thinking that they're hopping over that and coming through and nibbling on the greens. So hopefully they won't do much damage overall, but that may be something we have to work on. Come fall time, my brother will take care of that with a gun. Okay, and then our lettuce patch is doing quite well, growing pretty high. So I'm thinking I'm going to trim that down and harvest some nice greens for a salad. And then I'm hoping to get another round or so in before the end of the season. If I trim these down and they regrow, hopefully I can get another few harvests out of them. Our carrots are still doing well, growing pretty tall. So it'll be quite a while before we harvest them, sometime in the fall time, I'm thinking. And our peas are also doing okay. Just today I discovered this little guy. So he's a pretty nice sized sugar snap pea. Probably the most change so far has been the tomatoes. They have sprouted right up, and so I ended up actually putting cages around them, as you can see, to contain them, because they were just going so well. And we are starting to get a few that are blossoming out into small little green tomatoes, so it won't be long before we can start harvesting those. Very excited about that. So one of my favorite summer specialties is sun tea, where you take crushed either lemon balm leaves or mint leaves or lavender, whatever you have in your herb garden, and you put them in a jar of water and let the sun steep the tea, and then you drink it. It's really good. So it is early September and very windy today. You can see temperatures have dropped a lot. So fall is starting here in Midland, Michigan. We are beginning to harvest our tomatoes, and we've got pumpkins growing too. I'll show you here in a minute. Here is our pumpkin growing. It's still pretty yellow, but it's starting to get an orange coloring to it, so won't be too much longer before we can harvest that guy. We have a lot of tomatoes growing, as you can see. Still a lot of them are green, but we've been harvesting for about a week now. Some orange and red ones. So you can see these are just starting to turn colors over there. So one tip I got from an old farmer was that you can actually pick tomatoes off the vine when they're just starting to turn kind of a waxy color into like light orange. And here's the reason why. This guy got eaten either by some sort of a pest or a critter. But sometimes birds swoop in here and peck at them or whatever. So if you let them just sit on the vine for a long time, there's more chances of them getting ruined or pecked at. So if you gather them when they're just starting to turn orange, you can end up saving a lot more of your crop that way. So here's a good example of the tomato ripening process. But you are good to collect tomatoes that are even like this color. You can see it's still got some green streaks in it, but I just like to get it right off the vine so it doesn't get pecked at or eaten. And it will, if you set this like inside your house or in a sunny place like on a windowsill, it will turn to this color in a day or two, more orange, and then eventually it'll become red. So you can ripen them yourself off the vine. This is a little too green. This was something that fell off the vine early on, and I don't think it's been sitting for a while. I don't think it's going to get any riper. But as long as they're like this or more, you can take them right off the vine. Alright, so it is now mid-October, and temperatures are dropping. Everything's cooling off. We had our first frost last night, and we are wrapping up our garden for the year. So we had a really nice supply of tomatoes. We had about 3 of these boxes full of tomatoes, and that was from about 15 plants that produced. We got a lot of nice big ones. We got some really cute little purple carrots. They were a little smaller than I thought they'd be, but we got a handful of those. One quick note about root vegetables like carrots and radishes and potatoes. You can keep them in the ground over winter. And we know of a lot of people who will just keep their root vegetables right in the ground and then over the winter go over to their garden and dig them up. But we live in Michigan, so I didn't really want to do that because I didn't want to be digging through a foot of snow and ice to get our root vegetables out in the winter. But they are preserved in the ground. They won't grow bigger after the first frost, but the ground does preserve them. So that's another pro tip. And our pumpkin made it. Very excited about that. It did get a pockmark back here, but it healed up nice, and I think it'll be good for a pumpkin pie. We've got 2 more on the vine that are still ripening. So really happy overall with our 2025 garden.